How to name your new puppy or dog. As the saying goes, a dog is a man's best friend, or something along those lines. And a best friend deserves a truly fantastic name. However, coming up with your furry companion's name may actually be harder than you think. Method 1. Using quick tricks to name a pup. Stick with shorter names. Dogs have an easier time recognizing names that are either 1 or 2 syllables long, compared to names that are more complex. Instead of naming your dog something like Sir Merlin of Mangovia, you should shorten the name to Jake, or Meg. If you do want to give your pup a longer, more formal name, know that you will ultimately end up shortening it no matter what. It will just be easier to call for him to come that way, so go with a name that shortens into something cute. Try out names sharp consonants. Dogs hear high-frequency sounds very well, so names starting with S, Sh, Ch, K, etc. work well when catching a dog's attention. Dogs will respond more quickly to these relatively sharp sounds. At the same time, consider names that end with a vowel, particularly a short or a long e sound. Some example names that follow these rules include Simba, Cassie, Sweetie, Delilah, or Charlie. Do not pick a name that sounds similar to a command. Because dogs do not particularly recognize the actual word, but instead understand the frequency of the word, they can get confused by words that sound too similar, particularly when one of those words is a command that they're supposed to follow. For example, the name Kit can easily be confused with the command sit. The name Bo could be confused with no. Stick with similar sounds if you are renaming an older dog. Be careful when changing an older dog's name. Stick with similar sounds, such as changing Barney to Farley. It's more important to keep the vowel sounds the same than the consonants, since vowels are easier for the dog to pick up on and what the dog is actually listening for. So, Pinky will accept Mikey, but not Porky. Remember that you'll be using your dog's name in public. Some names have a family meaning, but it may not go over well at the vet or dog park. Also, choosing a name that's too common will mean your dog might run to someone else, or you might get someone else's dog jumping on you. Names like Fido or Rover should probably be avoided, as they are some of the more traditional, and therefore more popular, dog names. You should also consider the sort of reaction that the name you give your dog might inspire. For instance, people will probably be a little more wary of a dog named Murder than a dog named Honey. Ask before using a family member or friend's name. You may think it's an honor to name your pup after your favorite Aunt Matilda, but she may not take it as a compliment. She might think of it as disrespect. Try the name out for a couple of days before you make it permanent. Once you've chosen a new name, try it out for a day or so. See if it grows on you. You'll know really soon whether it's a keeper or not. If not, try something else. There are always many more puppy names to explore and try out. Don't forget to reward your puppy or dog when they respond to their new name. The more treats, love and hugs they receive now, the sooner they'll come running when you call later. Pay attention to how it feels to say your pup's potential name. Could you see yourself using that name over and over again? If your answer is no, you may want to consider choosing a different name. Explore many names. If you are really struggling on what you should name your dog, and need a little help being creative, you can always run an internet search for a list of cool dog names. There are quite a few websites that specialize in this topic and may help you to get your creative juices flowing. Method 2. Using appearance and personality. Look at the color and coat of your pup. You can draw a lot of inspiration from your pup's coat color. For instance, if you have a puppy with a brown coat, you could name him Rolo Chocolate, or Brownie. Or, if your dog has a curly coat, you might consider naming her Curls. See if your pup has any distinguishing characteristics. Look at your puppy's paws, ears, face, tail anywhere. Are there any unique markings or other special identifiers that other dogs don't commonly have? For instance, if your puppy has 2 white front paws, you might think about naming her Mittens, or something like that. Decide whether or not your pup's size could be an inspiration. If you have an especially tiny pup, or a huge dog, you could use that characteristic to help guide your name choice. You could even play off his size by naming him something opposite to what he actually is. For example, you could name your tiny dog, Samson, and your large dog, Tiny. Base your pup's name on his personality. Given a couple of days, your new dog's personality will really shine through. Try Cuddles for the sweet little guy who loves to get cozy, or Puddles for the pooch who can't seem to find the doggy door. Watch how he interacts with your family, or pay attention to any silly habits you might have. Method 3. Finding inspiration in famous dogs. Look at famous dogs in movies and on television. Cool movies and cool dog names seem to go hand in hand. Cool Hand Luke's Blue would be a fitting label for a variety of dogs. Dino and Astro come to mind if you want to honor a famous TV pup, or even, if you're into the classics, consider Lassie as your pup's moniker. Consider names from books. If you have a favorite writer, book or series, you may want to think about naming your dog after a character in a book, or for an author. Jack London had a dog named Possum, Odysseus' dog in the Odyssey was named Argos, and Tintin's pup was named Snowy. You can also draw inspiration from history. Consider presidents' names or famous events. For instance, if you are a fan of Theodore Roosevelt, you might consider naming your dog Teddy. Draw inspirations from your heritage. If you have a special affinity for the country your family is from, or really love how words in a different language sound, you may want to consider naming your dog something in a foreign language, or that has meaning in a foreign country. German dog names. For starters, try out Fritz or Kaiser. Irish dog names. Love water? Then try Murphy, which just happens to mean of the sea. French dog names. Pierre and Coco are top contenders for any dog, especially those with a little ooh-la-la in their genes.